Good morning and welcome back to another Travels of Red Rover. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Corinne.
And what are we going to be doing today?
Well, we're continuing our travels in Colorado on the back roads with our Jeep Gladiator. And we're going to head up Eureka Gulch today and maybe visit the Eureka townsite. And that's pretty short, so we might get on another trail as well.
So it looks like it would be fun, so let's get going. Well, we had a very good night's sleep. And it is the next day, and Corinne is cooking us breakfast. I think we're having sausages, eggs, and cheesy eggs, I think. And I am sitting back here drinking my tea, trying to stay out of the way of the master as she cooks. So this is the last of about 20 vehicles that have been coming up the hill. We've been parked here for 10 minutes, just waiting for the procession to come. So, on a Tuesday, no less. So that was a little surprising because yesterday we hardly saw anybody. Oh well, I guess we're going to pay for it today.
It says County Road 2.
Yep, we're heading.
That's the Animas Forks end of the road. And just left camp. And we're heading to Eureka Gulch.
This is going to be a tough morning. We have a whole bunch of cars coming up, and they are slow. A lot of sedans coming up the road this morning, and they're coming up in fairly large packs. It's not something I was kind of prepared for this morning, so I'm having to readjust my brain as they come up the road here. And some of them are fairly nervous about passing on the side that is steep. So it's going to take a while to get down a few miles today.
Yeah, the steep side is the uphill side, and generally it's acknowledged that vehicles coming uphill have right of way.
Yep. Well, we've run across some road work as we come down here. Although I kind of try and figure out what's the point. Oh, maybe they're trying to connect one side to the other. There's a bunch of workers over on the other side of the river here. And they got line all the way across. They got a big spool of rope all the way across.
Maybe they're running cables or something.
Yeah. This is one giant scree bed the road has been carved out of. So we are at the beginning of the Eureka Gulch Trail. And it's pretty steep to start off with. And the road's not nearly as wide as the book would have us believe. It's actually a fairly narrow at the beginning. Definitely not room for two vehicles. It's passing each other. And it runs across a scree bed. So it's that typical rocky gravel that we've been seeing pretty much all the time we've been out in the mountains here. I'm in four-wheel drive. And my sway bar is not is released, so sway bars are disconnected. It would be a beautiful aspen shooting location, or at least on the one side. There are lots of aspens on the passenger side as we're going up. Once you pass the steep section, the road actually turns into a very nice surface. This has been probably the nicest little road that we've been in the background for, or the back space, or the back area here for a while. It's not too bumpy, not a lot of potholes, single track, but not
straight.
Okay. Sorry, we're just having communication. this looks like the X right here. We're taking a little offshoot. Cream, what's the name of this little place we're headed to?
Judge Terry's Midway Mill.
Okay, I'm not sure what it's midway for, but, and who Judge Terry was?
Terry.
Terry, Judge Terry.
We have a little water crossing to do.
Oh boy, water crossing! We haven't done a lot of water crossings on this trip. Just a couple small little streams. I suspect this is going to be about the same. No, if that was the water crossing, that was disappointing.
We haven't gotten there.
Oh, we haven't gotten there yet.
Just
There's a pretty little stream running down the hill here beside us. So we're kind of heading up the...
It's a South Fork of the Animas River.
South Fork of the Animas River. In case you couldn't hear that. Oh, we're about to get a little pinstriping here, maybe. It's too narrow. So we just hit a dead end. The dead end is ended by a locked gate, and it's a pedestrian access only, so we're going to be walking up from here.
From the Eureka Gulch Trail, we've taken a side trip down to Judge Terry's Midway Mill, and we had to pull over, park the Jeep here, and now we're gonna walk up this short trail that's areas gated off and see what remains of the mill.
Well, we finally found the water crossing that Crean was talking about. It turns out we had to walk across.
Well, as we've come to Judge Terry's Midway Mill, we've seen a number of cement foundations and footings, both uphill and downhill. This is what remains of the wood portion, and there's a little trail that heads up the left side. We'll go see if we can get a view from up top.
That looks like it would be like for maybe it might have been for a big saw. Could have been a grain grinding mill, but obviously it was probably something to do with mining, but I don't know what.
There's lots and lots of cables here, all piled up next to the wooden remains of the mill. We're not quite sure what the mill did, whether it was mining related or maybe milling lumber. So we'll have to see if we can research more of this.
So we did do a little bit more research. It turns out that Judge Terry's Midway Mill was the terminus of a tramway that brought ore down from the Sunnyside Mine. The Sunnyside Mine was the reason that Eureka was established and produced over $50 million of silver.
This mill is in quite a state of decay. Doesn't look like there's any vertical standing beams anymore, and it's all just collapsed in on itself. There's lots of nails and bolts and rebar visible. So it was originally made to last a while. There's a beautiful mountain right up behind the mill, looking to the north, northeast. Here's a view of a few of the concrete footings I was mentioning that are downhill of the remains of the Midway Mill.
So we're driving back out from the mill site. The Judge Terry's halfway mill hut site.
No, Midway.
Midway. Makes me think it's like a midway house for, reforming criminals. Judge Terry's Midway workstation. Okay, we are back on Eureka Gulch Trail, heading up. This is actually a really short trail, so it shouldn't take us too long to get up there. You have some beautiful views on the way up. This mountain in front of us is really pretty, being lit up by the sunshine. And way over on the other side of the mountain there is one of the arches that would have held the tram lines. And you can see the concrete structure and the little A-frame there. The drive up the Eureka Gulch Road has been just lovely. So far, we've pretty much had the trail to ourselves. Well, I think we're getting close to the top, or at least the first part of the top. I've learned that in a lot of these drives, the top and then there's the top.
Don't get on that. See all that blue line?
Oh, Creasy's, I'm not at the top yet. I'm just at the pretty rock area.
Oh, there's a cement thing up there.
Yeah, that's probably the tramway station up there.
Either that or that's the Sunnyside Mine foundation.
Well, could be either. Looks like it's way up there on the hill. Before we went up to the Sunnyside Mine, we decided to take a little detour over to the George Washington Mine.
Well, this is a view of the George Washington Mine, I believe. And there's a gate here, so we can't enter. But it's a nicely rounded out tunnel. Looks pretty secure. If I back up here, you'll get a view of the window and iron fencing that prevents you from going in. The window area is on hinges, so maybe they let some people in sometimes. Well, Shawn swung open the little window and climbed through to the interior of the mine. You gonna have a look-see?
I'm going to have a look-see. I'm not going to go very far because I'm a big chicken.
He says he's not going to go far because he's a chicken. But he has a flashlight with him.
Well, it's nice and cool back here. I'll take some video. It's probably pretty lumpy. These rocks are quite difficult to stand on. Oh, I'm on mud now. Oh no! I've come all the way to the end. They definitely need to do some more digging in here. Well, I'll walk back out again. Well, I was quite disappointed. I actually hoped that the mine would go to a place where I would feel too chicken to go any further. As it turns out, it doesn't really go very far into the mountain.
This is a view of the meadow by the George Washington Mine. It's a big open area, lots of wildflowers, mountains in the distance, and over to my left there's the remains of the Sunnyside Mine, which we'll visit shortly. This road here is the one we came up. And down that valley is the return down to Eureka and County Road 2.
So back behind me here is an empty lake. And the lake emptied, I'm not sure whether it emptied into the mining area or if it was accidentally drained as a result of some of the cleanup work that was going on up here. Back in the late 80s, 1980s, the EPA declared a lot of areas Superfund sites. Again, I'm not sure if this is a Superfund site, but it is definitely being monitored. There are a series of yellow wells down below me here that monitor both the groundwater and the contaminants in the groundwater. Now, the idea is that the EPA started cleaning up a lot of these mine sites. And this started probably in the late 1980s and went through the 1990s into the 2000s, and they're still cleaning up many of the sites. Not sure exactly what's going on here, but they're clearly monitoring groundwater with all the wells that have been put around the little lake area here.
This spot is a groundwater monitoring well. The orange pylons are just to protect the well, and the common symbol used on the top of the well is a triangle. This one's been coated, and it would be part of a nest or a whole group of wells in the area. Usually EPA or another government agency for a Superfund site would hire a consulting company. They would come out, collect the samples from the well. They would send the well samples off to a laboratory that would analyze for specific contaminants. And then the consulting company would prepare a report indicating the level of contamination. Usually it would include 20 or 30 wells in a description, and they could model how the contaminants were moving. Off in the distance there, you'll see more yellow markers where a second well is located over there. And then this groundwater would continue downhill like an underground river, and it probably runs into the Animas River, and then that river would sustain aquatic life. So if you have a lot of contaminants, then the aquatic life could be injured, and sometimes the EPA will try and find the responsible parties and try and recover the damages for the injury. It was a program called the Natural Resource Damage Assessment Process. On the ground here, downhill of the slope, you'll see these nets holding like a straw, hay-like material, and those are for what's called a stormwater protection program. And the idea is to absorb some of the contaminants in that straw and keep it from going further downhill. And these straw bales would be picked up and removed at some point and replaced with clean ones to prevent contamination. Here's the remains of the Sunnyside Mine and probably a mill site as well. I think there's a mine shaft over in the far left there at that metal structure that has a circle and dot. And then down below, here's a bunch of cement foundations or concrete foundations for an operating area. They might have been crushing or using vats to concentrate the metals, since this was an area that had some mining contamination. That's likely they used some strong chemicals for extracting the metal from this rock. There was a tramway that Shawn's going to try and do some drone video of from this site. So probably once they got the metal in a more concentrated form, they would have taken it up the short distance of the mountain here, or hills, and put it on the tramway, and then it looked like the tramway headed down toward the town of Eureka, which would be approximately 4 miles. Or it might have only gone to a site such as the Judge Terry Midway Mill, if that was a mining mill. Down in this small gully, there's remains of pipes, so they might have been bringing spring water down to use for part of a wash for their operations. Over in the distance there, that's the Emma Lake area where the sun is shining brightly on that road.
The following footage will give you an idea of just how large this mine area was as the drone flies over the areas that Corinne just described. After we walked around a little bit more, it was time to head back down the mountain.
Well, we finished our trip down the Eureka Gulch, enjoyed it, not much to highlight on the way down, and we're stopping here at the campground and store. They seem to have a lot of RVs in the back and some rental cabins, and we've pulled up to the store, which is called the Miner and Prospector. So we'll have a quick little look around, see if there's anything interesting to remark on the store. They said there's some photos inside of the thriving town of Eureka in its heyday. So Shawn, what did you get at the store?
A Klondike bar, a Reese's Klondike bar. What did you get?
I got a Heath Klondike bar.
That's our treat for the day.
Yep.
So Corinne and I are driving up County Road 52 in the Velocity Basin. And the rocks at the end of this road, or the mountain at the end of this road, is just absolutely gorgeous. We had a nice lunch in Silverton. And we're heading back out into the boonies to find ourselves a campsite for the night. Hopefully this will work out. This road is considered to be a moderate road.
4 out of 10.
But 4 out of 10. So far, it's been very easy. So far, we haven't hit anything that's more than about a 2 out of 10. So we just drove into a potential campground and Corinne's campsite. And Corinne is looking to see if what's our favorite place to position ourselves. So Corinne and I found our campsite for the night. It's actually quite a pretty spot. It's the last spot along this road. So we were kind of lucky about that. And Corinne's plugging in some stuff. The view from the campsite is terrific. We look right up into this absolutely beautiful rocky basin. Right up there. Beautiful stream coming down. Doesn't get much better than that. We walked down to the stream just below the campsite. Found actually it's 2 streams. One coming from that direction, one coming from that direction. And there's a bog coming down right here, which I managed to step in. Got a soaker. Oh well. Green's already got across. Let's see how badly I get wet this time going across. So we're having a pretty nice evening, just reading and playing games. Corinne's nice and warm by her firebox there, which we've actually turned out to really, really like. With our little fan blowing the warm air across us. I got the little barrier up so the wind can't come in, or the breeze can't come in, so it's very, very pleasant. While we were hanging out by the campfire, these folks decided that they would come to see what we were doing. We were quite surprised to see them, and quite surprised to see how close and many there were of them. We watched these beautiful deer playing down in the stream. It's time to bring this video to an end. We sure hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave us a thumbs up. If you haven't, please subscribe. We'd love for you to subscribe in order to be notified. Hit that little bell button. And as always, we love to hear from you, so don't hesitate to leave us a comment, a thought, an idea, or just say hi. And until next time, bye for now.